again. Let's see how we can make this work. So, what is this? Hydraulic, the N considered for the proton and Angara. Oh, that's interesting. Let's try that. That looks like an interesting upper. Oh, it's almost the right size as well. Shogui. No. Ah, okay. CERD58. I don't know, whatever. We're just gonna fill this up with. Oh, this is hydrogen and oxygen. Oh, that's not so bad, actually. Hey, Silent Searchlight, good evening. I'm just paying attention to these things. So, still working on, thingy. Whatchamacallit? Stratolaunch. And, yeah, got some stages and stuff going on here. So, I actually took some measurements from the picture that was published. I went and I knew the size of various things from other designs, so I went and measured the length of the rockets that they showed, and it turned out to be about 30 meters. And the diameter, I think I decided, was about 3.75, because that's conveniently the size of this tank. So yes, I'm sniffling for some reason, and I'm gonna sneeze. This is a problem. Hey, bye, bigger. Hello, Portland. I'm venting right now. So I'm building this thing just to see what kind of thrust does the upper stage get. 0.39, so that burns for 14 minutes. Wow, maybe I should shrink this stage a bit. Let's reduce the length a bit. Is that really that many meters per second? That's quite a lot of meters per second that stage gets. Actually, you know, that's fine. Let's make it that. So the whole thing has to be about, yes, R.I.P. Aretha Franklin, respect and all that. Yes, she is great. There's unmatched and all that. You know, mad props, Aretha. You better think about what you're trying to do with your rocket. Seriously, I never understood that part of the Blues Brothers, because it's like, well, wait, why don't you just hire her? Because she's clearly a better singer than anybody else in the band. But, you know, it happens. Charcoal, checker, core boost. Let's do that. Let's just make it long. Now we're going to make this thing long enough to be like 30 meters long. At least that's how I measured it. Okay, that's an interesting look. I might make the fairing a bit longer, but the whole thing has to carry a 3-ton satellite. We're on a mission. We're a mission from God, ma'am. So now, what do we have for a booster engine? Should I use the LR79? Man, that's going to be way too weak. Let's use something a little more modern. LMD, nope. It's going to have something with thrust vectoring. LR101. Let's look at cost, because the most expensive ones will probably be balanced for being good. Sea Dragon. Yeah, not going there. Not going with the F1 engines either. J2X, that might be an interesting option, except it's hydrogen, of course, now I think about it. Vulcan, gas generator, hydrogen, oxygen. All the hydrogen, oxygen engines are stupidly expensive. RD-180 might be a little overpowered. I think this is too big for what it is. Let's just, yeah, this thing has, like, I must have mismeasured this thing, because at the low end, I said it had to be, like, 30 meters long. Which is kind of ridiculous, but maybe it's closer to the camera. And the whole thing masses about 150 tons. Hold on. Yeah, let's shrink this down to 30 meters, right? Maybe it should be a little narrower. Saw Exapunks on Steam, was wondering when you were going to do a video. It turned out I already had finished the game. I finished the game, damn it. Yeah, this thing has like so much performance. I think I must have totally overmeasured. Let's shrink the size of this down. Let's make it like a 3 point something meter and then do that here. 3 point... And I think having a Hydrolox upper stage just doesn't make any sense here. It still has way more performance than it needs. This is what I'm trying to do is I found a picture, and I should show you this picture because the picture is telling. Where is Stratolaunch? Stratolaunch, where are you? I'm just gonna look it up. Images. Yes, here we go. Okay, so I am just gonna switch things over again. How about that? There. Just so you can get an idea. Now, what I did earlier today was I took measurements. Like, I saw this and I know how big this is, so I measured from tip to tip here. I measured from tip to tip here. I measured in this axis, and like, I measured this and I thought, okay, this is about 30 meters long based on this, but I think it might be just closer to the camera. So I think I'm going to shrink it down. But then there's this here, and these are pretty darn big. And this is like almost twice as long. Is anyone at Cologne? Yo, this is still old school things. So, yeah, let's make it smaller and narrower. Gonna put a smaller and narrower payload on it. Payload fairing. Now I can't find the thing that I'm looking for. 1.85, 2.5 meters. Let's see how that fits. Oh, that fits nicely then. Okay, let's make it a 2.5 meter stage then. Yeah, exactly. This is like, the performance of this is way too high for what it is. So I think I'm going to shrink it down to be a 2.5 meter stage. Which would only make it like 50% wider than the, you know, the existing, whatchamacallit, the Pegasus. So I think this is the design I'm going to go for. Does the stream look weird? Oh yeah, sorry. Go back to this. Go back. The stream does look weird because I had switched the mode. I don't really care about this upper stage delta V. That's bonus points. That's like onboard fuel that I just added. I could fill it with water or something instead. So what do we use as an upper stage on this thing that's cool but not too fancy? Again, cost. It'd be really nice to just look down a list of these. RL, expander cycle RL10, another lots of RL10. What's this? Keralox, first stage of the Delta. No, these are first stage engines. AJ10. I don't think we want to go there. Obviously not going nuclear, although that would be kind of cool. I could go for the BE3 actually, but that's a hydrogen oxygen, right? Again, Hydrolox. Another RL10. I don't think they would be using hydrogen on that upper stage. This PSLV, Shiba. And these are all gen engines. An RD, hypergolic vacuum. That sounds interesting, doesn't it? Oh, wow. I don't think I can... Nope, can't get rid of that. Oh, there, I could do that and get rid of that. Nice! You can filter fuels in advanced categories. Is that possible, really? Oh, wow. Filter by tech level, filter by resource. Oh, wow. Except that I just don't have... I gotta now find liquid oxygen. There, everything that has liquid oxygen in it. Okay. No, that's just things that you carry liquid oxygen. That's not helpful. I want things that consume liquid oxygen. So much for that. Oh yeah, let's use this. A closed cycle upper stage engine. And then if I drop this on here, will it generate... It doesn't generate a reasonable thing. 2.5 meters. Okay, and then we're going to replace this, remove all tanks, replace this with... oh, hold on. Let's ditch this off of here, make sure we get the right ratio. Okay, so that's like 5 kilometers per second on that upper stage. Sorry, I'm suddenly getting all sniffly. I don't know what is going on here. And that stage is 20 tons by the time it gets there. Maybe I'll shrink this just a bit. You feel very bad for the poor sods testing things like mercaptans and thiols. Yes, I totally understand where you're coming from there. They would be using, you know, clothes pegs and stuff on their noses. Obviously, I'm not going to have RD-180s on here. I'm going to shrink this down. I don't know how to make that the right size. I could build an interstage for sure around it. Might do that. You know, let's just see if it flies, right? What is the thrust to weight? Thrust to weight ratio is actually pretty good. 23 meters. Let me just zoom out a bit. That thing actually looks a bit longer and thinner than the PR piece. Let's shrink this down to like 10 meters. 9 meters. Let's make this a 9-meter tank. We still need to find an engine that goes on it. RS-25, not the business. RD-180s again. RD-191. There's an idea. That's just maybe a little big. Where's the Merlin? RD-120. These are all Russian engines. Would a vacuum first stage since you're launching it? Yeah, well that's one of the advantages of launching at altitude, of course, is that you can use a much more expanded nozzle. Oh yeah, look, I could put the redstone on there. That's a really bad plan. Ethanol. Yeah, totally is not going to have the thrust to get anywhere. Why do I feel the sniffy nose thing? XLR. Okay, so now we're onto the cheap engines up here, right? These are all the dinky little ones. We want something that's pretty good. Second stage of the Proton. These are stars. These are Leros, which is a space probe engine. This is the Rutherford. There we go, look. I could use a bunch of Rutherford engines on here. I already used a Star 48 last night. I combined to create my quick and ready the vernier system. Super Dracos, SS, Frigate upper stage. I believe that is the smallest engine I've seen which uses a turbo pump. Maybe I'm confused, but I think the vacuum engine and the regular engine. Okay. Remove all tanks and kerosene and liquid oxygen, and it gets 0.4, so it needs way too many of those to get the thrust that it needs. Astris, Aerosine and NTO, BE4, liquid, bit bigger than I need. Nice. Not what I'm gonna use. Don't you also need batteries? Probably as well. Lunar Module Ascent Engine. Consider eventually. Oh, licensed to India. I've done this one. Kerolox Gas Generator Vacuum Engine. XLR. The Iostus Hypergolic Upper Stage. RD100. The first large-scale Ethalox engines. I've never heard the term Ethalox, but it instantly makes sense to me. I like big rocket butts. I do, but this isn't big enough. How about we do one of these, the NK-33? That's actually a cool idea. Now, how long does that make the rocket? Now, does this have a gimbal? That's it. Yes, it does have a gimbal. Yeah, I think the upper stage needs to be lengthened. I think the whole thing needs to be fattened slightly. But I can't do that unless I cheat. How about we make this, oh, I've changed it into a cone. Okay. Top is 2.5 meters. And then the bottom is a bit bigger. And then the whole thing is a bit longer. And we fill it with kerosene. So I need to make this bottom a bit longer. Okay, that's looking better. Can't you thicken it with tweak scale? I could if I had it installed, but apparently tweak scale didn't come along for the ride for some reason. So I am living in a post tweak scale world. Diameter 3 meters. That maybe is a little better. Okay, so that gets us up to like 8 kilometers per second here, right? So that should actually be enough to get into orbit. 2 point whatever. Second stage engine looks... Okay, I know we need to fix that, but we're gonna work on this. Now here's the thing. That picture I showed earlier... Yeah, I saw wings on another version of this. Hold on, I'm looking around. Let's take a look at the images again, because I thought I saw a different version of that with comparisons or whatever. Let's go to the Stratolaunch website. Stratolaunch.com. Yeah, it is. Like, there is a completely different version here. Here we go, look. Just show me the damn picture. Here we go. So, give me a second. So, live launch. So, yeah, look. This is different, right? The version that I saw didn't have... The version I showed you didn't have these little wings. Now we have wings on them. And we've got 3 of these. 3 of the things. I gotta figure out how to build a thing here. Build some sort of interstage that will make it look good. The problem is always that interstages never... Interstage fairing adapter, okay. Okay, and then add some fairings. Payload fairing, payload failing. Oh, proper payload, non-payload fairings. And now we gotta somehow change the shape and everything of this thing, right? Base, top, height, 2 meters, all the way up. That's right. Base is 3 meters. And I'm going to shrink the top just a bit. Okay, there we go. Of course, will this thing stage properly? Probably not. Let's take this off. Take this off. Take this off and put a proper fairing, stage separator in there. Shrink that down just to make sure. Oh, damn it! Come here! Thank you. Your cooperation has been noted and will count as fuel. Why are you not cooperating? Okay, let's try this again. Now we need a little more length here. Or height. There we go. I liking the look of this. I think we're doing well. So we've got enough delta V here. What we do need to add is the wing. And I don't know which way the wing should be oriented, so I think I'll attach it here, right? So I'm going to save this, save, and then we're going to switch over. Oh, we can't do that because this isn't 1.4. Excuse me, I'm going to go over to the spaceplane hangar to do exactly the same thing. Do an inverse Stratolaunch where the rocket detaches and the plane goes into orbit. I think I've done that before. Now, the vehicle assembly building seems to be taking some time to load. 3-ton satellite, load. Oh. That's great. Where did it appear? Oh, there it is. It's up. Come down! You're not supposed to be up there. I'm certainly not supposed to be hiding. Okay, that's not what was supposed to happen. Thank you. Oh, and we've lost our thing here. So now, what we need is to see the center of mass, and we'll put Aerodynamic Lift on, so we're going to need the wings to attach here. And the wings, I figured out, are about 15 meters across, but actually the wing width, the height ratio or whatever is what we're doing. So I'm going to put on a procedural wing just about here. It's interesting the center of lift is so far forwards. That's because this density is probably lower. So J, I'm gonna make them a little longer, and I'm gonna narrow the width at the tip, and then we're gonna move the tip back a bit. Why is the aerodynamic lift is like so far forwards here? That seems to make no sense. I think part of the problem is the engine is so heavy. I know the fairing isn't perfectly flush. I'm just trying to make something that will fly, right? That's first things first. We're gonna get to make the things look good when we figure out how to make it actually fly. Okay, there we go. Let's save that. And now what I need to do is make this the root object, because I need to be able to grab it. So we just stick a bit on the side. And we do a reroute. And that becomes my root. Oh, no, wait a second. I need to do a reroute where that becomes the root. Right, there we go. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Game is a little broken again. Oh, I keep doing this. The window is a very bit funny. You can see part of the desktop. I know there's nothing relevant on the desktop. Maybe like Space Engine or something. Yes, just so you know, it broken. It borked. Spinny wheel. The wings seem big, and yet I've gone and measured it. The game totally didn't like that. Okay, I think we need to back out and reload. So let's go to something else. Close that window. Okay, really gotta kill it. Task manager time. This is really taking a very long time to do anything. Close the program. Let's actually see if I've got tweak scale just for good measure. Tweak scale, rescale everything. There we go. Apply. What is taking all my CPU? OBS. Typical. Okay, I'm just gonna add tweak scale because I keep remembering that I want it. Oh, excellent! Yes, I get an unhandled exception in the thing. Quit. So yeah, CCAN failed. One more go. Let's go to like where's webcam? You get to look at my face as I do this. Da, 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 da. Open in the debugger. Yeah, we're not gonna do that. We're just loading the CCAN. Tweet. Something seems to be taking an exceptional amount of CPU. Let's try applying these changes again. Everything successfully installed. Wait a second. Okay. Good. So now Kerbal Space Program 64, and it's going to take a while. So give me a second. Right, or yes, look. Oh, no, wait. Wow, this window is just like sitting there with a fragment of the chat window there. While it thinks, what shall it do? Null Cascades. Oh yeah, I know. Java, many languages are full of useless stack traces, but then it's quite often that you'll find, I don't know, that the error you're looking for still isn't there. I work a lot in writing code that interfaces with things like Go, and Go is really annoying because you know what? By default, it produces a panic trace instead of a stack trace. So if the code you're integrating is in C and you haven't turned on the core dumps and then turned on the shell stuff to make the core dumps happen, you won't actually get a useful core dump, so you can't diagnose the problem. Great. Anyway. Yeah, no, it's not about checking staging. It's about checking staging environments. Didn't SMC propose a 3 version? I don't know if Sierra Nevada have actually proposed that. One thing I find interesting is in the PR shots that I found from Stratolaunch, the winged, like, passenger vehicle thing that they talk about, they don't show the wings on it. Like, they turn it in such a way that you can't really see what shape it's supposed to be. I don't even know if you could make a single stage to orbit vehicle that launches from an aircraft, but I guess I should try it. Maybe I can get, like, 8 kilometers per second out of a hydrogen fueled thing. Did I limit CCAN max K? CCAN, isn't that supposed to, like, read that? It's... Yeah, I did. I silent searchlight. I did see your Sidney Harris entropy calculation or whatever cartoon. Q basic. Ugh. Yeah, I did a lot of GFA basic, but even then, GFA basic was just like, okay, I'm too lazy to program this in assembly. Let's put this in a language that's really fast and easy. Only 25,000 patches applied. Anyway. Yeah, I mean, so here's a question. How many tests did they do for the F1 injector plate? Like, I always thought it was hundreds, but it's like 3,000 tests. Now, not all of those blew up engines, but there was a lot of testing done. I'm actually doing a lot of reading on rocket fuel engine injectors because the engine injection system is really important. It's like 90% of the super secret tech. Oh, I've heard about the proposed M. I was reading about the M1. But it seems that these days everybody has fallen in love with pintle injectors, So, if you ever wonder what face shutoff is, then yeah, you will find out when I actually make my video on the subject. Like, so there's, you know, you might imagine it's like a big shower head that's just spraying fuel in and oxidizer, but shower heads are really bad because the streams are parallel, right? So what you have to do is squirt the streams into each other so that they create this like atomizing spray of tiny droplets. So everything mixes turbulently and then everything evaporates and fuel happens. Okay, let's see how this is. Okay, let's see how this does. Aerodynamics. I think we're looking a little better here. I'm just going to slide this wingtip back. I think that'll be fine. So the fuels need to be aerosolized. That's roughly, yeah, they need to be atomized. That's the trick. So yeah, that's what I was doing. I was trying to make this into an object which I could manipulate as a thingy. So what we do is we reroute. So this, and then this. Okay. Oh, wow, and that does actually seem to crash it. Wow! I think we've found our crash. So I don't think, maybe I can't use a procedural tank for that. Oh man. Technical difficulties. Bring up this. Okay, one last go. And isn't it great? We have the KSP TV technical difficulties thing. Oh, wait, you can't see that, can you? Yes, you have to do that. Yeah, select the procedural tank first. So I think what I might do is add multiple things and see if that works. Like, make sure the procedural tank isn't being attached radially. That maybe that's the problem? I don't know. That's where the attachment point will have to be, though. That's the thing. Well, what can we do in the meantime? You know, another thing I need to make a video on. I can't believe, like, that nobody has made a video. Like, somebody mentioned it in Discord, and I'm like, oh, wow, yeah, nobody has made a serious video on the most powerful rocket engine ever tested. If you search for, like, most powerful rocket engine, it's always like, it's the F1 on the Saturn V, which is wrong. It's, like, wrong on multiple levels, because first of all, there's a more powerful liquid-fueled engine, and then, beyond that, there was an even more powerful solid-fueled engine, a solid rocket. The F1 is, like, third place. The AJ260, a moment of insanity, which, yes, it's truly something worth talking about. But yeah, you know, F1, great, but yeah, no. No, the super powerful Russian engine was not using toxic fuel. The loading time was faster this time because Mod Manager recognized that it hadn't changed any of the mods, right? So it didn't need to go through the whole loading process. I've fallen in love with the idea of closed dual-split expander cycle engine. Expander cycle equivalent to a full flow stage combustion engine. Well, I'm glad that we can have these conversations. Okay, let's try doing something slightly different. So I'm going to attach the cubic octagonal strut to the side, and then I'm going to attach a cubic octagonal strut to that, and then we're going to select this as the root. Root and root. And it does! It crashes again! Bango, bingo, bango, bingo, bango. You see that? It is frozen. Technical difficulties. I need to have some other part that I can use then. Pull up. Pull up. Replace a procedural tank with a girder, then slide the tank in. Maybe? The problem is there's no beer. That may well be the case, but I had to take a ride to Scouts, and by the time I got home, I realised there was no beer in the fridge. So the beer that I put in the fridge is not cold. It might actually be cold now. But at this point, I can't, yeah. I'm not loading this off an SSD. I'm loading this off a regular spinny disk drive. I think it's, honestly, I'm not sure we need improvements on the expander cycle, because the RL10 is getting so good to performance stuff thing. I have to figure out a way to hang this rocket from my plane. Yes, a 1 which is not cold is scarcely a 1 at all. Did anybody see the Trogdor board game Kickstarter? I wonder if that's still running. Now I gotta look. Trogdor board game. June 17th. Oh yeah, no, it totally was funded. 23,000. Let me just show you this. 23,300 pledged $1.4 million to fund the Trogdor board game, which included, if you go down to the higher tiers, there were things like the Burninator level, sure, and then there was the Wormwood version, which had a nice wooden board, and then the Majesty tier, the Consummate tier, which included silver stringing and inlaid jet and brass in the board, for a game based around a cartoon dragon which was badly drawn, and that was a big part of the joke. I think it might have had all the dragons or the Dagrons in one case, because they had different character dragons. Like, I don't know if you can see, but there's like the Meeple version, and then there's the other versions that have been drawn, and then there's different characters down here. I don't know. It's pretty cute. I prefer the Meeple version, to be honest. I like the villager on fire. I honestly, I'm a big fan, but not enough of a fan to fund that. Have I ever played Space Team? Yes, I made a video about Space Team. Did you not watch my amazing video about Space Team? Yeah, Space Team can be great, but don't try to play it across like a you know, what do you call it, a conference thing. Okay, how do we change the routing on this? So maybe I should change the route back to the rocket or something, like, for now. Yes, the fire hat for the burning peasant makes total sense. I just like the look of this. But I'm going to try attaching some stuff to the back, right? And see if I can change the thing. So go there, there. Okay, that works. So at least I can take the rocket and figure out that whole thing. So what I need to do, of course, is... let's close this. I'm going to make this a sub-assembly. Grab the whole thing and drop it in here. And then, like... we need a name! Oh, we're going to call this the Trogdor, obviously. Okay, now! Open! Don't save. Down here we have the Dwayne Johnson, also known as The Rock, somewhere. And this is almost full size. So I think if you click on it, oh, it's 102 meters wide. It's not quite full size. Like these, I should replace because the actual design. Well, maybe I should do this actually. I'm thinking I should change the design of this to look more like the real thing. Actually, maybe I should put. You know that's fine. I'll do that, and then. Oh crap! So that kind of looks more like the thing that was in that I saw. So now we need 2 of these. I'm gonna save that and see if it flies. Oh wait, I need to put some crew in this. Go on, Jeb. It looks like someone sat on the previous version of the plane. Instead of seagulls, it's geese. I think actually this bit needs to be longer. But let's see if it'll fly still. I should probably try landing it. Also, the tailplane needs to be made bigger. Not so bad. The problem is landing this thing. It's about the same width as the runway. It also has quite significant pitch authority. Let's try heading over this way and try to land it. Whoa! Oh yeah, definitely has too much pitch authority. Let's just cut the power and try to land it. I don't have flaps or anything set up, so I'm totally screwed in this. An F-22 would be jealous of this plane. It could carry an F-22. It could carry a full space shuttle. This is going to take some time to slow down. In fact, it's actually gaining altitude according to this. And here's me thinking it would be losing altitude. Like, because it's got such a long wing, it can clearly continue to bleed off speed for a very long time. Well, the Boeing 747 could carry a shuttle, but this one could carry it underneath. It could sling it in the middle. There's barely enough room for a shuttle orbiter in between this. Okay, I gotta get this thing on the ground. Like, here's the problem, the speed is like 123. This isn't losing any speed at all. I'm definitely still going up slope a little. Now I'm going down slope and this thing does not want me to land. Here we go. Okay. Now let's see if we can brake. Every time I brake, it starts to pitch in one direction, so I'll let it turn off the brakes just a bit. Okay. Okay, I think we got this. We're on the ground. We're just slowing down. Yes, I could totally apply air brakes, but honestly, I don't really care because all I wanted to do was have something that roughly matched the size and thrust and wingspan and everything off the real Stratolaunch vehicle. Because then I wanted to build the rockets. That was the main thing. Wow, these wheels seem to take a really, really long time to stop. Come on, you know you want to. Definitely should add some bigger tail wings. Let's revert flight to the spaceplane hangar. You think that would make a decent Duna plane? What did I see? Yeah, I wanted to see, can I tweak scale these a bit? Let's just scale them up just a bit. Yeah, that's more like it. So we're going to borrow from the shuttle tailplane design. That's better. Okay, so now let's go to the sub-assemblies and bring out Trogdor. Now we need to figure out how to attach Trogdor to the aircraft. So I think I might be able to cheat just a bit. Since I have rear attachment, I could probably just build a decoupler and attach it to the engine and then sling everything else around that. So I think that's the plan that I'm going to go with for now. Because if I grab it, it wants to attach based on the engine. So what we do is this. Okay, and then rotate the whole thing. Okay, that's not quite where it's supposed to be. I'm hoping I can make some adjustments. Not very many, apparently. Well, here's the thing. I wonder if I can just grab the rest of the rocket and then put the engine back on later. Let's do that. So I've got the engine. Now let's ditch this. I can bring that engine back. Now let's try attaching this. Aha! Okay, well, it's kind of upside down, but I can handle that. That's actually looking way better. So now I can grab the engine. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. How do you think this looks? I think this actually looks small. This is why I'm wondering. They said a 3-ton launcher, but like using reasonable engines, I'm like, I got pretty close to be able to fly this whole thing. Now, the only thing I gotta figure out is the staging order here, because we're gonna have to ditch this. Right, so that'll fire. So wait a sec. First of all, let's do everything. We're gonna launch with all the jet engines. And let's actually save this as DJ 2.0 TD. We're gonna do the TD variant for Trogdor. Is the engine still centered? Probably not. There's gonna be all sorts of weird symmetry issues. Then, when we get to altitude, this needs to separate. So this needs to go down here. Then the next thing that needs to happen is this engine needs to fire, and that is indeed exactly where it needs to be. Then we need some stage separating going on, and this stage separating can be a combination of this, which is there. Oh yeah, all this stuff should all fire in the same stage. That's perfect. That's perfect. Okay, and then that engine. And then this fairing, and then this thing, and then that upper stage. And that is us set. And the only thing I want to do now is move this whole thing backwards, I think, for stability reasons, and downwards for, like, please don't hit things reasons. And then we're going to add some structural struts for the struttiness. I'm going to put a pair of struts and attach this to... That's not what I wanted to do. There you go. Just want to make sure this upper stage is well controlled. Okay, let's just make one check of... Yeah, this rocket is like... This is supposed to be a 3-ton payload. I think that engine looks so off-center just because it's supposed to look that way. Like, I thought that when I was building that rocket, I was like, this rocket is too big. Right? I thought it was way too big. And now I put it on the rock, and I'm like, wow, it looks tiny! Like, holy moly. Okay, here we go. Let's get this up into the sky. Well, you know, this is pretty close to what the real thing should be. Okay. So I guess the next question I have is, will this thing be stable? Status normal. Where's the propellant is very stable here. That's the important part. Right, because I don't want to hit some situation where the propellant is not stable when I'm lighting that engine. When astronomers refer to a billion, do they mean 1,000 million or a million million? Most astronomers mean 1,000 million. Very few people use the British billion anymore. I had difficulty stopping the rock. Well, you know, because you can't stop the rock. That is... yeah, it was going to take some time for us to get to altitude. I should probably use time acceleration a bit. We don't really care about this thing getting back to base. We just want to see, you know, get it up to altitude and see how high it's going. Oh, we have 1.4 meganewtons of thrust here. Yes, the trillion is how most people... yeah. The British billion, it sort of made more sense. Because then, you know, you would have 1,000 million and a million million with it. You know, it would give you much more room. But honestly, scientific notation is the way to go. I will not be surprised if Burt Rutan is still doing stuff for fun. So you know what I want to do actually is... I wonder if I can control from here. Oh my god, warning! Control from here. How do I control from here? There. Okay, so apparently I have my thing inverted. So that's great. Oh, we're at like 12 kilometers already. Here's me thinking I would only get to like some fraction of that. So will this perform better than a Proton? Almost certainly. Look at us go! We're still gaining altitude at like 14 kilometers. We're starting to get a little unstable here, but I think we're almost ready to go, okay? Oh yeah, I should probably slow down the time warp here. I somehow can't think... The Stratolauncher is going at... This is going at like 250 meters per second. That's a significant, you know, fraction of the speed of sound. What I'm wondering is, should it really be able to go this high? I somehow wonder, could Stratolaunch really get that high? That overheat is for these jet engines. They're not really supposed to go this high. No, the speed is like still going. It just looks slow because it's real scale. And that's the Atlantic. And there's a whole lot of not very much out in the Atlantic. Okay, I'm gonna try dropping this. Are we ready? Okay, now... Uh-oh! Oh. Well, so much for that. All that work, and yeah. I like how we ended up flying past the space plane like that. I wonder how high this thing will get, because it's actually going pretty fast. I don't have any control over it at this point. It's shredded all the control surfaces. Apoap's is going to be 40 kilometers. Yeah, I don't know what it's what this SAS is doing, but it's not responding to any of my controls here. And now we're gonna go down. It's side slipping. Man, it got up to 35 kilometers. Wonder where my plane is. Is it still out there? Nah, it's all been removed. Oh, now it's going up again. Go on, you want to go to space. You want to get up there. That's it, 80. Look, it's going to break 100 kilometers. It will go to space. Oh, it ran out of fuel. Or, it ran out of liquid oxygen, I guess. Because I had plenty of fuel. It totally went to space. Oh, that feels so good, actually. Is it because the SAS module can't support the weight of that craft? I don't know. I think I think it's because those wings are just too big and the little tail fins are too small. So what I'll just do is move everything backwards. But I'm quite impressed that this thing got this high. Also, it ran out of oxidizer, so I need to fix that. I should probably already also verify that the fuel and everything loaded on board is pretty consistent with what we need. It got totally high there. I'm just wondering whether it will survive re-entry. Is this a predictive broadcast? I hope not. Because it's kind of heading outwards, up north towards, you know, one of those places that are north. It would be unfortunate if we landed on some place on the coast. It makes a nice sounding rocket. Unfortunately, it ditched the payload. Cheers very much for the time to make random videos while on vacation. I hope you people like those random vacation videos, because I had quite a lot of stories there that in retrospect I wish I had spent the time to make really good stories about. Oh my god, it is. It's totally going to land on populated areas. 2 kilometers per second. Oh yes! Oh, I love the thing about Kerbal Space Program when everything just breaks up. That is just one of my kind of favorite things. Does anyone know where this is? Like, where is this? I mean, there's a latitude and longitude or whatever we can figure out, but I don't think anything's going to survive. I think there's plenty of people that do random space facts really well. I just, I don't know, I guess I just have a different thing. I don't know what my thing is. It's either North Carolina or South Carolina. We'll let them fight over that. So let's take this and fix it a little. First of all, let's take these wings and just shift them, make them smaller and stronger. Although, you know what? We actually sheared off this. Let's just take this and shift them backwards, right? Right, and then let's take these wings and make them bigger. Let's use tweak scale here. That should give me a bit more authority. The only thing is, I think this engine is just too far out of here, so I'm just going to cheat a bit and say let's slide this in. Let's imagine that this engine is a little stubbier. That looks more like it, even though it's cheating. And you know what we also failed on? This thing actually broke. So is there a way for me to strengthen this? Let's disable the shroud. Oh. Let's take that out. Right, and then let's add some struts here. There. Okay, so we're adding some internal struts, because that was one of the areas that failed. And now we're gonna... That's a procedural tank. I'm gonna shrink the top so it's a bit narrower there. Okay, save this, and we're gonna go for launch again. Oh, rotate my... I can fly my probe. Doesn't matter. It's my stream has dropped 0 frames, which is so unlike Comcast. You know, fair play to Comcast for having 0 dropped frames at this time. I'll just fly it whatever way it happens. I can handle it, don't worry. I think my plane might not be high enough compared to the real thing. That's the other one. It is interesting. It takes like quite a bit more effort to get it off the ground, but once we get it up there, it seems to have plenty of thrust to weight. The lag engineers must be off duty. You're right. I think Comcast realized that paying people to make extra lag just didn't make them very many friends. I'm gonna get up to like 15 kilometers again. It doesn't matter who I give control to, because when you detach, it doesn't stick with whichever is under control. That's always a feature that I'm like, they should do this, is that when you perform a staging maneuver, the focus should remain with whichever thing has collected, if you've explicitly asked for control on. So, just saying. Which cockpit is the real one? That is a good question. Let's take a look from his point of view. Do we see somebody there, or do we see somebody there? Oh my god, we see some flickering there. Hold on, let's... I guess that we're in the left one, so this is totally consistent. There, look, we can see the rocket off there. You find it interesting that Kerbal uses the landing gear from the 777 and not the older 747-200 gear. Arako Katok, I would really love to know more about this stuff. Like, that just... When people come up with this level of detail and start talking about it, it's like, wow, I'm really fascinated by that. But anyway, apparently in the real plane, yeah, the left cockpit is the main one and the other one is just like a dummy. Although, maybe you might put some high-paying executives or something up there, I don't know. I think I should level this out so I pick up a bit more speed. It is interesting that I'm not going fast enough to actually get the performance that I did last time. Rockets ain't got no rights. It makes sense to have the left one be the real one, because as a pilot you sit on the left for reasons. Yeah, I love how that tradition is just like one of these things that started out and it's just kind of maintained. Because pilots are loath to change anything. The rocket would be fueled... Oh, you know, another thing we never fixed was the fuel ratios here. So I'm gonna run out of liquid oxygen. And actually I should check this. Oh, we still have liquid oxygen. Okay. let's get this up again. So you'll notice the gear when you take off, how it lifts the front of the gear carriage and lowers the rear. It does that on the 777 gear to help lift the whole thing just a foot or so to reduce the chance of tail strike on takeoff with the longer 777 airframe. I love these details! This is like exactly the kind of stuff that just I spend forever reading about and answering and whatnot. Okay, what do you say? We're like 12.5 kilometers. Let's just ditch this thing and see what happens. Oh, vapor and feed lines! No, the engine failed! Uh-oh. Oh, no ignitions remain. Oh, love it. Let's see what survived. Oh, look, this bit's still flying. I wonder how that'll descend, because it's the only thing that actually looks like a plane now. Boy, it was like yesterday. Like yesterday I spent forever building this Stratolaunch vehicle, and then... Oh, there we go. And then I didn't have much time left, so I was just like, oh, let's bolt like a Minuteman to a Star 48, and it was like, oh, this thing totally got into orbit. But now I actually spent a long time building the rocket, and it just keeps breaking up due to aerodynamics in flight. That is great. Maybe what it needs is some extra boosters to get it started. Let's attach those. So we'll add basically little engines to make sure that, you know, the fuel is settled and all that, right? Yeah, you could add a Tiny Tim, that would be funny. No, oh, no, that's not what I want to add. At the other end of the spectrum here. How much thrust does a Star 3 generate? Interesting that we don't have Sepatrons. 2 kilonewtons, not subject. Flame out and under 10% of requirements. I don't know which ones I should use. Baby Sergeant. Maybe I should use a couple of Baby Sergeants. How about those? And then we'll ditch those after we ignite that engine, right? So where are my coupling things? We're radial decoupler. That's good. Da da da. Da da da. And now we need to fire these before this lights. And then when that's ignited, we can ditch the decouplers. Where's the decoupler part? No. There we go. Ditch those here. Okay. I'm not even going to go as high as before. It was... Oh, shoot. I never fixed the mixture ratio as well. It was low pressure because as I dropped it, the air drag meant the fuel would have flown forwards, so the engines couldn't get the fuel to light. So that's the problem here. That's why I think we need these extra engines here, just to make sure that we can get the fuel into this system. So look, here you're talking about the wheels. Oh, speaking of tail strike here, that's very much something that's going to happen. Thank you, Maybe So 83. I really appreciate your attention to detail. I shall have to pay some attention to fixing the mixture ratios at some point. It's totally true. It's amazing how, you know, fuel is apparently fake. They use that. I also discovered, incidentally, that there's at least one group of people who don't believe in nuclear power because, and this is what I found out, because if nuclear power was real, then it would explain the energy source of the sun, and therefore the Earth couldn't be 6,000 years old. Like, it all goes back to the Bible, which is really a shame. After so many, you know, great scientists and all that, you know, that people are. Okay, we're gonna try this again, and. Oh, there we go, there we go. Now can it pull out of this dive? It's still losing altitude here. Oh, and it's spinning out of control and broken all apart. Once again, we had that whole dynamic failure, despite the extra struts. I love how this thing is spinning like that. Okay. Well, let's see if it breaks. I like it when things break up in the atmosphere. Okay, let's fix the mixture ratio. Did I adjust the tail fins? I did sort of, but you know what I think I might do is I'm going to scale them up a bit more. But also I'm going to adjust the flap, control deflection should remain about there. I'm going to shrink that down. I'm going to really shrink its roll control because I don't think that is important to it. I don't know, maybe I shouldn't have, maybe I should have 4 of them. Okay, let's change the mixture ratios. Remove all tanks. So we ran out of oxygen. So since we ran out of oxygen, let's pick the second option, but I think somehow that's not right. Wait. Man. Yeah, I think that's what I need to do. I think having 3 on this just doesn't work with the Kerbal control software. Like, I think a regular plane could manage it. So, yeah. Right, so actually, yeah, people are saying that there are people that tell me that. It's like, oh yeah, when the moonlight comes out, it makes things cold, so I've got like a giant magnifying glass there, and I've got my thermometer, and as soon as I get a nice full moon, I want to see if I can make the thermometer register a higher temperature by focusing moonlight on. I don't know if it's possible, but it's like a big-ass magnifying glass. Well, it's actually a plastic one as well, so it's passing infrared. Let's just spend some time here. Oh yeah, Cody's Lab did a video where he registered voltage on a solar panel. I totally expect that. My thermometer is sensitive to 1/10 of a degree centigrade, so given that I've been able to use my Fresnel lens to melt all sorts of like metal and stuff, I think it could totally work. Cody's lab is great. He's so nice, and I regret that I've never had the chance to work with him, and he's so nice, and you should all, like, be nice to him. And okay, so I'm just gonna flatten this out for a second, pick up some speed, and then we'll pull into a climb and then ditch this. Yeah, no, I was so happy to see that uranium video because it was so relevant to what I did. And then it took me like 6 months to write the episode. Okay, here we go. Oh, ditch, 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 ditch. Okay, well that was unfortunate. Well, this seems curiously stable. I wonder how flyable it is. I mean, so there's no control surfaces in that one wing? Ah, this is actually interestingly flyable. Let's not put the gear down just yet. Just can't get the nose up so well. Now, I wonder if there's a way that I can... So this... Oh, have I still got yaw attached to... or roll attached to these? You know what, let's put flap spoiler... No, standard control. So we need roll on this. Oh, thank you. Okay, we need roll on that tail fin. Okay, that's not good. Oh, crap, okay. Okay, well, so much for that. Okay. I thought I had it, but no, EVA! He just disintegrated. I'm not gonna. I felt so good. I was like, I'm control. I think I can do that. I think. No. Revert to the spaceplane hangar. I mean, the other thing I gotta remember is that this is totally weak. This joint here, so I need to strengthen it. It's basically attached through a single. But they're both attached through a single part. Just want to make sure that we've got a little more rigidity in there. Because that's like the weakest spot. I'll see how that works. Is that advanced nav ball? That is the nav ball which is used by Principia, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to put more of these on here because why not? There's more thrust. You know what? And let's actually just make 4 of these, right? Because I think 4 will deal with some of the spinniness that we've had. And I'm going to also go in and I'm going to shrink the root on this a bit. So we're going to make this wing just a little bit smaller. Principia is absolutely a nightmare. It's superb, but very rarely does it actually make a big difference. And sometimes it's very annoying. It is very nice because obviously it's one of the things that gets me all the time. Have I played Factorio? I have. I haven't played it long enough and everybody ended up getting super into it, and then I just realized I missed the boat on it. So I have many, many more things that I will play before I have time to play Factorio. Okay, here we go again. I should do the short stubbies like cruise missiles. I don't think we want to have canards on it. I might be able to move those wings forward. That's, I guess, one thing I'd like to see. I went on a Factorio binge with a friend, and 28 hours later I decided to never play it again. Yes, the wings on cruise missiles are about mid-body. However, the mass distribution of a cruise missile is very different. This has a very low-density fairing, and this also has a low-density interstage. So I had it in the place where it needed to be, and then I've changed things since then. So I might be able to move them forward, might not. Uh-oh, I lost something there. I lost a wing. You know what? I kind of want to try landing this now, but I wonder if at F5 it, see what happens. Okay, let's just try ditching the thing and see if we can do this. Ready? Oh wait, I should probably wait for that plane wing to go and get disintegrated. Otherwise, what'll happen is I'll switch to that and miss an important thing. It's only a wing! You know, we can still fly. I actually need to fix the wingtips on this because they're not quite correct. Get a little more altitude. No, I could totally land this thing. I just don't want to have this wing hit me at the wrong moment. Why put the wings in the middle? Wouldn't it be more stable in the tail? There is stable and there is lawn dart. We don't really want. You think I could do a barrel roll with a rocket payload? It's not really a barrel roll. It's an aileron roll, really. Yeah, okay. Obviously, the victory roll is a little premature at this point. Okay, what does my propellant stability say right now? It says very stable. I mean, that's one option, is I could try lighting the engine prior to dropping it, but I don't think that would work. Yeah, I'm just mixing the fuel, that's what we're doing. Okay, that other panel is gone, so let's do this. Okay, now I'm trying to pull up a bit here without tearing the nose off it. And unfortunately, yeah, it's being a lawn dart here. But you'll notice it isn't tearing up just yet. Probably because we're not going fast enough. But I think having the 4 tail wings have really helped in terms of stability, so I'm going to move these wings forward now. Oh look, we're actually going upwards now! But we're totally blowing all our... Oh, we should probably ditch those things, right? It's a very quick lawn dart. That's exactly what it is. We're not going to get into orbit because we're going to have run out of fuel by that point. just trying to get it to like 30 degrees. Okay, I think we're doing fine here. We'll keep 30 degrees attitude. 78. You know what? We might actually need some extra stuff on this upper stage to properly get where we're going. Ah! Yeah, I'm gonna need some little jets there. Okay. Ah. See someone saying proof of concept GTF. Oh, wait a second. I have exactly that book right here. It's upside down, obviously. Good reading in there. This is excellent stuff. For anyone that is halfway interested in InfoSec, there's a lot of fun writing in there. Okay, let's fix this just a bit. Let's take these wings and shift them. See, because I've taken them off the plane now, we've kind of ditched that. And here, I've realized that I've put these fins now in the middle of my thing, so I need to shift these out the way so I can grab these and shift them somewhere else. You know what I should do, actually, right, is grab the decoupler and shift these slightly below so that they actually pitch me upwards, right? So then I'll be like, this will naturally pitch my nose upwards and we will be much happier and whatnot. Yeah, okay, that's what we're doing. Now I can grab these and shift them backwards. More Delta V! Do you need wings on the rocket? Yes, because we need to commit to a pitch-up maneuver. So, there's one... Yeah, I definitely want to put some little boosters in here just to make sure the fuel settles. I like the PDF version with the bootable Windows embedded. Oh dear, yeah. It's a question of whose Windows. Just kidding. Look for the smallest mass objects and see if we can stick them on there. That's right, star 3. Just put 2 of these on here. And these fire... Okay, here's this stage, yeah. So we gotta fire these at the same time as we fire that. Okay, that'll do fine. So we'll ditch everything, fire those. Oh, that should not have done that. Let's move these forwards. That's better. Can we science something? What happens if we nose up the plane till it stalls and then launch the rocket? Well, obviously we don't want to cause the plane to stall. We're trying to simulate a real thing here. This is the idea, is that thanks to the power of Kerbal Space Program, you know, realism overhaul, we can actually try a lot of this stuff. I did do my fuel ratio thing. I'm not sure what happened, but it seems to be fixified. One more go to get up to speed. Of course it's not a disposable plane. After we leave, Jebediah, of course, turns it around and landed it. Even if the plane has fallen in half, I'm pretty sure that Jebediah could go and land it. Here we go. Getting airborne. Oh. I've started a new project of making tatami zaisu. What is tatami zaisu? I'm really curious. I'm never not curious. Let's be clear. There's very few things I'm not curious about. You call it a controlled crash landing. Well, there you go. Just gonna double up the time acceleration here so we get to altitude faster. A floor chair. Okay, I see. In Jebediah we trust. I mean, who wouldn't trust Jebediah? Reusable airplanes? That'll never catch on. In thrust we trust. Yeah, I'm not sure I would... While I would trust Jebediah's skills as a pilot, I'm not sure I'd trust him on things like trade and peace negotiations. We already have modular airplanes. What you do is you swap out the munitions they carry, typically. Okay, we're getting up close to our deployment altitude. I think we're ready to go. Are we ready? Are you ready? Here we go. Okay, look, it's definitely pitching a little better this time. There it goes, right? Trying to not exceed my control of... I'm trying to not tear the thing in half. That's the problem we've had in the past. Notice that we're picking up much more speed this time. Okay, I think we're doing just fine. 15 kilometers. Let's just get that nose up a bit more. Every time the game pauses to think, I'm like, oh, that's it. It's about to break into like a million pieces. Oh, I should ditch these boosters. Totally forgot about those. We get a... Uh-oh, we get some wobbling going on here. Hold together! Hold it together! A little bit of a wobble, but I think we can handle it. Apoapsis is over 100 kilometers now. Okay, so what's going to happen? We need an attitude control system here. Just going to try and point at prograde. Let the wings do it. Okay, so we get 2 minutes to apoapse, and this next stage is going to take a little bit more time to fire. So once we're above 100 kilometers, that's when we'll fire this next engine. And this is telling me that it's probably not able to fire just yet. Okay, ready, and... Oh! Ah! My god, it almost never did its thing! Because the staging happened in the wrong place. Okay, and then we should be able to ditch this. Thank goodness. So now I'm actually going to tell it to pitch up a bit more. Let's switch... Let's do this. Because I need a little more height here. You know what? This is not really generating the kind of thrust that I need. It's going to take how many minutes to fire? I don't know how much fuel is left in this stage, but we need more life. No, the retro rockets oh, the retro rockets didn't fire, you're right. I guess this fuel was just stable by accident. Okay, so I need to get higher, and I need to fire that thing basically right away. Burninating the atmosphere. Yes, okay. I should maybe just make this the command pod now. Do reroute. D. Okay. Oh. It crashed again! It just really doesn't like rerouting involving that procedural tank, does it? No, I'm not planning on making a satellite that spawns a satellite, because, yeah, that's a whole interesting misreported story. And it is interesting how some people are obviously trying to exploit some, you know, otherwise innocuous behavior for political gain, since there are clearly things up there that are absolutely doing stuff that is much more interesting, but, you know, when you're trying to sell Space Force, you gotta have your story figured out, right? Okay, we're gonna go one more time. That engine is one heck of a gimbal. The Russian satellite doing weird things. Yes, that's correct. It's already got some of the worst selection of logos I have seen for anything ever. That's right. It's gonna mean a whole lot of money for the new space uniforms and to wear at the computer desks, and a lot of money for the paper industry for new stationery. That's right. That's right. Yeah, they're logos of the social media age, clearly designed by people that have no clue. Like, Mars awaits. What's the Space Force gonna do on Mars? Like, at least for the next century or so. And then, I don't know, have you seen how many of them include space shuttles? Like, do they not know the space shuttle hasn't flown in like 7 years? Right. Yeah, X-37 is doing plenty of these things. Okay, what was the one that we had? DJTD for Trogdor. Okay, so what I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to take these little engines and I'm going to stick them on their own stage, just to make sure. But other than that, I'm going to get higher. I love Whiskey Weasel combining Dr. Seuss. That's right. I'm totally gonna get higher. So here's the thing, once I've figured out this one, we need to build the version which has 3 of these first stages. Right, I think they went to like 5 or whatever, or they got some guy to volunteer to do these designs. Don't forget the S's for Suckster. That's right, Trogdor the Burninator is absolutely one of the classic internet skits. Right, so Akela Hawk 2001 is that the Space Force has many legitimate reasons to exist. However, it has far too many existing parts that nobody would want to lose, so it's politically hard for it to happen. And on top of that, yes, it's being used as a, you know, cheerleading tool for, you know, by people that actually don't give a crap. Besides, obviously the Cyberforce thing is far more relevant right now. Another. No, it's not a terrible name. No worse than the Air Force. I mean, sure, you know, they could go full 1984 and rebrand everything, so it'd be like Ground Force, Water Force, Air Force. I don't know. Marines are kind of land and water, so that would make them Mud Force, right? Just kidding. I love you, Marines. You know, my father-in-law was a Marine, so you know. But the Coast Guard, I don't know, what do they do? Like, you know, how do you distinguish those guys? Shallow water force. Anyway, Space Coast. Again, I know plenty of people in the Coast Guard, so I'm not gonna diss those guys either. Beach Force, that sounds the best. Beach Force. Baywatch Force. You get everyone and their mum wanting to be a Space Marine. Maladaptus Astartes. That's the stuff. Yes. Jam Vanderloof points out that the Marines' aviation is really the Army's, the Navy's Army's Air Force. Oh man. Okay, I'm gonna flatten this out a bit. F5, let's see what happens. Oh, nice to catch you on my home office day. Is your home office, that's how you, is that tax dodge or something? Because, you know, there's some news about tax dodges, you know, in the last 24 hours or so. Okay, I think we're... I don't know, we're still gaining altitude at a serious rate here. I think I should see how high I can get. After all, it can only help if the amount of drag that I'm experiencing is slowly reduced over time. Give them all pulse rifles and call it a day. Good. Yeah, Mini 2R, you get as high as you like, but I'm not endorsing it. 16 kilometers, and we're still rising. I should probably flatten this out just a bit. So, anyone following Elite Dangerous are they gonna dock up with the Gnosis or the Gnosis on its trip into the permit-locked space? Because I'm really curious to see what it finds in there. I'll tell you what I bet it'll find. Planets. And some stars, but also planets. There might even be some rocks floating in space. But it will all be generated by the god of proceduralism. Well, so the other thing is Elite Dangerous, like, next Tuesday, Chapter 3 comes out for Beyond. Okay, I think we're high enough. Let's just do this now. Oh no, we're gonna get up to like 17 kilometers. Surely this shouldn't get quite so high. Never mind. Are we ready? Okay. Oh no 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 no. Don't you exceed your crap. Trying to get pointed the right way. I need these wings. That's what I need. But the wings. Okay, we're sort of not quite performing what we want to do here, but we'll get there. Whew! Okay, I think we're back on course. Going on a 45-degree climb. Definitely need to go on a steeper climb than last time, because that upper stage engine is just like such a wimp. It needs a lot of help getting it up. I think it's just the wings. The wings are those things that were needed. So we're almost up 45-degree. Okay, just hold that attitude. Well, the problem is that upper stage is very, very slow and low thrust. So now I'm just trying to get that speed up. 200, 3 minutes. Okay, I don't know whether I should stage sep now or later. Oh, excellent. Okay, that fired. And then ditch the fairing. What is the acceleration? What is this? Max thrust. Yeah, 0.32. So that's like 1/3 of a G that it's doing here. Which means I'm going to have a really hard time accelerating up to the speed. It's like going at 2 kilometers, I don't know. I think this is the dry thrust to weight ratio. I don't know. This is like a 20-ton upper stage actually, which is pretty big. The good news is there is some hardware in here. Let's get the solar panels out. Just, you know, so we can have some power and whatnot. There, now it's totally looking the part. I don't think I have any roll control here, actually. I wonder what my Delta V says. Delta V! It says I have like 10 kilometers per second. I must have really screwed this up somehow. I must have really made this stage far too long for my own good. Yeah, that time to apoapse is just approaching far too quickly. To the moon, I'm not sure that's gonna work. What is this engine that I used here? It's the first, you know, it's the first stage combustion cycle engine ever developed. It's a Kerolox engine that was produced by the Soviets, but it never really used that much. It also has the ability to relight multiple times. It's not that the Soviet technology is failing, it's that my ability to, you know, generate enough speed to offset. It's nice to have because its efficiency is pretty good, but I think there might be some better options in terms of engines here. Yeah, I should have totally fixed the... I should have totally shrunk this stage a bit, because this just has too much stuff in it. Although this has probably plenty of delta V as well that it shouldn't need. At least this velocity is increasing now, but we're going to start falling back. Will realism work for 1.4? No, you need to downgrade, so you need to make a copy of your installation and then get CCAN, and then use CCAN, but not everything is on CCAN. For example, B9's procedural wings, those you have to get separately. Okay, we're now up to half a G. And I'm still only going at 3 kilometers per second. So yeah, that upper stage just is not powerful enough. Yep, starting to fall down now. And now I wonder just how much extra speed. What part of an orbit is half OG? Some satellites do go down to get it up, but I think that this one is just going to keep going down. Because I've only gained like a few hundred meters per second on average. I've really kind of blown it. My vertical speed is shrinking very, very fast, and I'm going to fall back to Earth, and there's nothing that will stop it. This one is not getting back up. It's going to hit the atmosphere and disintegrate, and we will be sad. All that effort to like get the thing aerodynamically stable, and then the upper stage just doesn't work. I'm not going to abandon ship. We've got so much life left in this. Never know, maybe it'll, you know, survive somehow. I wish I could, like, give it more thrust. But they could do that in the space shuttle, like, under some emergency situations they were allowed to go higher, even higher, like, so regularly could go up to 109%, but if there was an abort scenario, they were authorized to go to 111% power, I believe. Yeah, we're now going down at about, you know, 1 kilometer per second. And I don't have the thrust to weight to counteract that. I guess that's a kind of a fun comment. It's like, yeah, you know, Dave St. Hubbins, his, oh, is it? No, Nigel Tufnell's amps could go to 11, but the space shuttle's engines could go to 111. It was one louder. I should probably be using time acceleration here. Doobity-doobity-doo. Not really thinking, it's just watching the engines stop, fail to work. Look, I made it up to 4 kilometers per second. Supposedly Tesla air conditioners go to 11. There you go. Why not just make 100? Yeah, but this is like one louder. That extra 7 kilometers of delta V is not going to do us much good. Yeah, and now we're into the atmosphere. Maybe I'll flip retrograde and like try slowing myself down and see if I can survive re-entry here. I'm really curious as to see what re-entry looks like. Oh my goodness, what is happening to the ocean here? We've managed to burn the oceans dry. I'm entering the sea of simulation, right? Oh, I love the way things break and burn up in Kerbal Space Program. What's this that survived? It's a strut! All hail the strut! We are out in the middle of the Pacific. Atlantic, sorry. Okay, I'm gonna revert back to the space. Okay, so we need to figure out this upper stage situation a bit. How did I get that wrong? Okay, I'm gonna shrink this down a bit. Of course, if I make this shorter, it's entirely likely that the aerodynamic thing changes and this thing goes out of control again. But like dropping 10% of the fuel in that stage and then adding a bit more fuel here. Oh, crap. No, I did not mean to do that. Oh, damn it. Okay, look, I shrunk this down to 3 meters. So we lost about 1/7 of the fuel there. So I'm gonna add back 1 meter worth of fuel there, right? Because that's where all the thrust is. Okay. I should really be going to bed, but I do want to get this thing into orbit. Duct tape couldn't fix that re-entry, but it sure tried. And to be fair, I did kind of lose control of my spacecraft after I detached. I think we'll be fine in terms of utilization. I don't think wow, things are starting to fall apart. The world is starting to break. I'd better get out of here before the world disintegrates. Sneak some JATOs onto the plane. Gotta love them JATOs. I don't think these engines are firing, by the way. If they did, I totally missed it. It's all a simulation. I should have merged with Ember. Yes, Ember 2 will come out there and save me. My plane has really tiny heads, but it is supposed to look like the real one, which has like a fat body and, you know, long tail and long heads. It's all about carrying stuff. Kerbin's gonna get consumed like Langoliers. I don't remember what's what with that, but sure, I'll say that. You know what, I think these fins should actually be at 45 degrees here, but yeah, whatever. Oh. All hail the Kraken. I mean, all hail the strut. Yes. The strut has dominion. Really, the truth is the whole mythology of the Kerbal universe is the eternal struggle between the forces of creation. On one hand, you have the Kraken, and on the other hand, fighting against the Kraken, its mortal enemy is the strut. But sometimes together, they can create the Stratokraken. The Stratokraken. Okay, we got up to like 17 kilometers last time, didn't we? Okay, get this flattened out. Hey, I launched at 17k, but I wish... I mean, maybe I should... I think if I reload it, it will crash. It will, like, disintegrate. But it's always fun to find out. Anyway, it does look like I need to go higher. Right, we should definitely make it go to like a 45-degree angle. Is there a repeatable, guaranteed way to spaghettify Kerbals now? I don't know, but yeah, the Kraken versus the Strut is kind of like the immovable object and the irresistible force. It's a philosophical thing, really. Yeah, I will be clear, Danny is the expert. Danny is the expert in spaghettification. Okay, switch back to regular. We're actually going faster than we were the last time. Which makes me think I could get even more altitude, but honestly, that is going to be just boring. I just want to launch this sucker and have it fly. Danny invented black holes. I cannot confirm or deny. Because nobody knows what he really sounds like. Actually, I know what he sounds like, but... Danny is just all about breaking the game and doing it. He's quite amusing. Okay, here we go. We're gonna launch. F5. Are we ready? No, 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 no. It's doing it again. Do it again. There. There's where you want to be. There. Exactly there. Just stop that roll. Stop the roll. I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. Obviously, I messed with the center of mass, and I've been punished for it. I'm just staring intently at the nav ball, trying to control this. But as the atmosphere thins, it will release me. There we go. Now I'm feeling a little more stable here. So I think your tail fins are freaking out since yes, they do many things, but this is the main thing that's supposed to deflect my trajectory to, you know, whatever I request of it. I could definitely move these wings forward or backwards. I kind of get the feeling that they're too far forwards, but on the other hand, it does seem to stabilize, so, you know, hard to tell. Oh, I should have ditched these, damn it. Okay. Why doesn't it fire those things? Okay, we're at 3 minutes 30 whatever seconds, and we're going at 1, and we're slowing down actually. Still, thrust to weight ratio is slightly better. I'm gonna maintain this attitude, and then time warp. Time warp will help just a bit. I should work with plowing? What? What are you talking about? You need a little bit of a V in those wings. I don't know about that. I don't think we need anything because we already have
that kind of feature. The designs I've seen don't have that feature. Will my Stratolaunch videos make it to YouTube? Maybe. I think it needs to be edited, and I was actually hoping to have a working video at some point, but apparently that is not to be. At least now we're picking up speed. Should probably shift myself again. 30 degrees is a good attitude. I'm not really slowing down that much, I'm just not speeding up that much either. It says 1 minute whatever to thing. You're still skeptical of that TTA with Terran Trade Authority? I think maybe I should use a different upper stage engine, to be honest. Oh, you saw TTA, time to apoapse, that's what you're saying, right? I think just in general, my thrust to weight ratio is just not acceptable. Still, we're getting a little faster this time. I don't know how much fuel we have left, but hopefully we might be able to offset a bit of the, you know, tendency to fall back to the planet. Unfortunately, like, the velocity we get doesn't really reduce our relative mass that much. So we're a long way from being able to totally counteract our vertical speed. Let's pop up our, where is it? Flight, maneuver plan, autopilot, surface info, that's the one. Surface info is always a good option. So, vertical speed decreasing, we're about to go negative. And we've reached 4 kilometers per second. Our thrust to weight ratio is 0.63. I'm starting to go down like the last time, but you know what? I think I might be able to do it if that first stage had been flown by somebody that didn't skew it off at the wrong angle. I'm totally not going to skip down and pitch down and skip out of it. But you know, my vertical speed isn't shrinking that rapidly anymore. So I could get there. Like, my vertical speed is actually starting to look like it's controllable. The question is, do I have enough delta V to get the upper stage where it needs to be? Yes, the thrust to weight ratio is nearly... Look, our vertical speed is actually going to start decreasing soon at this rate. There we go, look. Oh, now I'm going to start pitching down a bit because I would like my orbit to be a little lower. Little lower! 0.93. It's really now just a question of how much fuel I have at this point, you know? There is actually fuel in this thing, so maybe I should just rely on that. Although, having said that, I haven't checked to see whether it is properly pressurized. There, my vertical speed is decreasing. Delta V, you are my enemy. My Delta V, my enemy. I'm going down now because I don't Have my Delta V in order. Yep. Something. Okay. 6 kilometers per second. I think I'm gonna come up just short here. And I don't think I can make it up with this upper stage. We're about to run out and we need to get 500 meters per second. Activate engine, damn it. Okay, vertical speed. It's decreasing again. But hey, my actual speed is increasing, so we might make it into space here. And you just have to think, how much did I lose from that, like, twisted initial launch, right? I think it's possible that this design is going to get there. Yeah, the thrust-to-weight ratio really picked up. You think I'll get to space? I am in space, so how can I not get to space today? Okay, yeah, I need to use faster time warp again. The question is, can I stay in space today? Well, look at my periaps. It is now rising. I should probably just, like, point this here. Let's do that. Look at it go into space. It shouldn't really need to do this. I think this is supposed to be a 3-ton satellite. That was the specs that they described in their press release. So putting a 3-ton satellite into orbit, that was the goal. And I think we've done it. It needed to use a bit of its onboard fuel, but it was like 500 meters per second short. There is a last stage, but it's only a last stage that's supposed to do... the last stage is actually part of the mass simulator. And stop. Ah, that's pretty good. Okay, well look, we got it into orbit. And what is my mass? Do I have my current mass somewhere? Vessel mass is 2.85. So I had to waste about I had to waste couple of hundred kilos of fuel to get myself into this orbit, but I did. And now I can, like, go back and see what happened to my upper stage and stuff. Look. Oh, wait. Huh? What is that? Why is it not letting me select it? Well, look, I'm happy with that. We did finally get our space plane into this orbit. So we're cool. You estimate the flip out cost me about 500 to 700 meters per second. I think that is about correct. The airplane landed. Jeb totally took it down safely. In fact, I'm pretty sure that Jeb, on his way back to the airfield, probably did a few barrel rolls, and then he did like a cool thing where he did like a power slide in the sky and used his mad skills to carefully set it down. And, like, I know I wasn't there, but I bet you he put it exactly on the runway. So, yeah. Anyway, let's finish this off. I am calling that an orbit. And we can take that and then we make it even bigger for the 6-ton spacecraft, which should be put into orbitable with this design. Yeah, Jeb is so amazing. Like, really, like... Jeb, I have so much respect for Jeb. Really. Bye!